Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanao Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shrutismriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Samastajana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Hari Om. Salutations to all. So we will chant from verse 277 to 282. 281. Swatmanye sada sthitva mano nashyati yoginaha vasananam kshayaschataha swadhyasapanayam kuru tamodvabhyam rajasatvat sattvam shuddhena nashyati tasmat svattvamashtabhya swadhyasapanayam kuru prarabdham pushyati vapuhu iti nishchitya nischalaha varyamalamvya yatnena swadhyasapanayam kuru naham jiva param brahmeti etad vyavritti purvakam vasana vegata prapta swadhyasapanayam kuru shrutya yuktya svanubhutya jnatva sarvatmyamatmanaha kvachidabhasata prapta swadhyasapanayam kuru. So what are the three steps of Jnana Sadhana? Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan. Two-word definition of Shravan. Tatparya Avadharanam. Two words. Tatparya Avadharanam. Determining the essence. Two-word definition for Mananam. Yuktibihi Anuchintanam. Logical reflection. Continuous thinking. Now, when we think with proper logic, then we should be ready to change our old knowledge, wrong notion. Then the intellectual conviction will be clear. If I don't change my old notion, there will be constant conflict in the buddhi and confusion will arise. So, when one listens to Vedanta, one reflects, then one should actually do the transformation in the mind, mind and intellect. That's why one Mahatma Ji, he said that coming to satsang is like a boxing match. In a boxing match, what happens? You get blows on the... And he said, if you go to satsang and you don't bleed, then you have not done satsang. Meaning, my false notion should get knocked out. If I retain my false notion and then add more knowledge on that, it will not create the transformation that I really want. So, mananam leads to intellectual conviction. And when the conviction changes, then the application will happen. Because yesterday, as we saw, we don't live by our knowledge, we live by our conviction. And knowledge, when we transform with the right reflection, will become my conviction. So, when we know that I have to do exercise, that knowledge is there, but my conviction is I love sleep more, then I go by that conviction. I don't go by knowledge alone. Sometimes I go by knowledge and I push myself and then I somehow get up and do the exercise. But in general, it will be the conviction that will drive. So it's very important to think, change my conviction. What Vedanta is asking us to change is the deepest level of conviction about my identity. I think I am the Jiva. The earlier shloka said, Naham Jiva Param Brahmeti. I am not the Jiva, I am Param Brahman. That conviction has to change. Now, when one has intellectual conviction, then the person goes to the third step, and that is Nididhyasan. What is Nididhyasan? It is, in simple words, contemplation. So the shorter definition of Nididhyasan is Advitiya Vastu Sajatiya Pratyaya Pravaha. This is the shorter definition. Advitiya Vastu Sajatiya Pratyaya Pravaha. Towards the non-dual self, the steady flow of thoughts. Sajatiya Pratyaya Pravaha. When will this happen? When the conviction is that I am Brahman. And the mind has become purified, then that mind will continuously think of this. How right now the pratyaya, sajatiya pratyaya pravaha is about I am this body, I am the jiva, I am this human. It is there. Or some sense enjoyment if one is thinking about, then mind is imagining. When we return to Kolkata, पुचका खाएंगे वहाँ पर जाके, इस गली के इस कोने पे इस व्यक्ति के पास इनका पुचका तो इतना अच्छा होता है. सजातीय वृत्ति प्रवाह. Without any distraction, no other thought, steadily the mind is thinking about that. So like that, to think like that about object is easier because object has name, form, attributes, qualities, all that. And it is other than I. Now here we are thinking about that which is nirgun, nirakar, beyond body, mind, intellect. So appears difficult, but that's why purity of mind is required, and manan, when it is done properly, then the mind will do. Steadily it will think about Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi. Not a mantra japa, please remember. Mantra japa is the aid, it is a tool. It will help to achieve concentration. This is not mantra japa. One doesn't have to say Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. One doesn't have to do japa. Aham Brahmasmi indicates the state of Brahman, and the Mahavakya is saying I am Brahman, meaning I am not this body, mind, intellect. So I have to lift myself to that state. So in contemplation, what happens? In a quiet mind, we repeat the Mahavakya or any, stotram like Nirvana Shatkam, etc., indicating Brahman. So you repeat that slowly. When the mind is quiet and you repeat that slowly, what will this stotram do? It will negate who I am not. First, one aspect is negate the not self and assert the self. This is what it has to do. In a quiet mind, if I say Mano Buddhi Hankara Chittani Naham, then one must feel that yes, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am not the memory, I am not the ego. Feel. Slowly, if I do this and I lift myself to that state, if the mind wanders, bring it back to the passage. And if you feel that the Advaitic passage is very difficult to, focus upon, then bring it back to the mantra japa. This process I have to keep doing. What this will do, this will destroy our dehatma bhav. This will destroy our contrary feeling, what we call viparita bhavana. That I intellectually know that I am Brahman. I am convinced also that I am Brahman, but I still have dehatma bhav. I still identify as a body, as a jiva. That is because of many, many lives of past vasanas. I have lived as a body, as a jiva for so many lives. So that is habitual error, what we call. That will go by abhyasa only. Continuous practice of nididhyasan will destroy that habitual error. So this jiva bhav will be replaced with brahma bhav. That is the purpose of nididhyasan. So nididhyasan is to reduce and destroy jiva bhav. And strengthen the brahma bhav. That is the purpose of nididhyasan. Now when we do this nididhyasan in a systematic way, the implication of this is what? In my day-to-day life also, my life becomes much more effortless in terms of accepting what comes in life. It becomes more easy to let go of the ego. The self-importance that I want, the craving for self-importance, recognition, all goes down. Humility increases in one's life. One identifies more with the self in all. So I look at myself as the self and I see others also as the self. That's why this shloka here says, Jnatva sarvatmyam atmanaha. Sarvatmyam atmanaha meaning the self in me is the self in all. I start seeing that. At the moment, because I see myself as a body, I am seeing others also as a body. And so immediately the judgment happens on the body. This person looks nice, this person looks okay, this person is handsome, this person is beautiful, this person is... And one goes on seeing. If I look at myself as a jiva, then I see others also as a jiva. If I say I am a human, they are also human, let me behave, with human values. If I look at myself as a as consciousness, or suppose I say I look at myself as a sadhak, then I see the other person also as a sadhak. Okay, this person is a sadhak also. The person may or may not be consciously doing sadhana, but each of us is a sadhak only, there is no doubt. A spiritual seeker is conscious of the seeking and is seeking in the right place, in the right way. Others are not conscious of their seeking, they are seeking in the wrong place. That's all the difference. Otherwise, everybody is a seeker. Now, then if I look at myself as the consciousness, as Brahman, then I see everyone as Brahman. So it is, the importance is what is my level of identification. Nididhyasan will shift my level of identification to the highest. Jnatva sarvatmyam atmanaha. And so the practical implication of this is what? As I contemplate, as I do Nididhyasan, my feeling of oneness will increase. The more oneness increases, the more will be the feeling of universal love, compassion, service. Anybody suffering is there, I want to go and remove that. So the bhavana is of the whole universe being expression of one truth. Gurudev used to give a very nice example of this through the example of our body. So I'll just show you one nice video.
In order to develop this love, which is natural for everyone in yourself, from top, the crown, to the tip of your toe, you love you, isn't it? Even though the hands are not the legs are not the toes are not the fingers, the finger is not like the nose is not like the ears. Every part is different in shape, in name, and in function. What the eyes can do, the ears cannot do. What the nose can do, the tongue cannot do. They have got different functions. What the hands can do, the leg can never do. Within me, myself, there are so many different shapes, forms, purposes, or functions. And yet, am I not one? From the tip of the toe to the top of my crown, am I not one? How do you feel that is oneness? The hand is not the leg is not the thumb is not the nose, and yet I say is one. How? I pervade every cell in me. You may be 250 pounds, 6-footer with 60 chest, and if I bring a pin and say that for what you have done, we have decided that the pin must be put in, you choose, because democracy, you choose where it should be put. Right? In that huge body, this little pin, you cannot choose any place. You choose every place and say, no, 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 no. Until at last you say, if you must put the pin, why not try it on my neighbor? Why? Because every cell you love equally, because you know that it is me. Within your body you have got the feeling. In your body also. It is very often happens that your own finger goes to your own eyes. Has it not happened to you? Have you not beaten your own tongue? Even if you are the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, sense of justice, will you say that this finger unnecessarily went and hit the eyes? The eyes was always serving the finger whenever it was doing any work. It's unprovoked aggression. Isn't it? Like Sadat, let us go and chop off the finger as an example for the entire body politic, that there must be discipline in the body. Will you say that? When it is your own finger that goes to your eyes, immediately all the 5 fingers together as a committee goes to the eyes and start rubbing it and then silently saying, I am sorry, I never meant it. Isn't it? The eyes, though watering, it is red, but it cannot even open the eyes. But I open the eyes and look at the finger and silently say, I know it, and I forgive my finger, isn't it? Supposing it is the finger of the man who is sitting next to you came in your eyes. Your sense of justice is cut his finger off. Let him learn how to. Why? He is something different from me. My friends, when you start really analyzing it, the whole world is your body. Just as every cell in you is so sacred, every living being in the outer world, every mineral piece in the world outside is a part of you. It is not anything other than you. With this understanding when comes a sense of goodwill towards all living beings, that they are not separate from me, service then becomes not a service before self or after self. It will be service as when my, let us say, calf muscle is scratching. My hand goes and scratches. Does the hand ever say, leg, if you have got scratching, you scratch. Why should I do it? What will you give me for scratching? No, I run there and do it, isn't it? Why? The joy of that is the joy of the whole body. It is not only the leg, but it is the hand also. The comfort comes to the hand also. In the same way, wherever there is sorrow that I see, I run there and try to remove and wipe off as much as possible the tears of others, not because they are others, but they are my own sorrow. If this universal vision has come, and this is what Vedanta asks you, all the devotees are seeing Ram everywhere, meaning that one reality everywhere. Once you see that, the sense of plurality goes away. These distinctions at national level or communal level or even individual level was all wiped out into one divine presence. With this unfoldment in yourself, you shall find that the world is preserved. Even now the world is not destroyed. Only you create a destruction for yourself in the world. That is all. You make a hell of this world, but the world is staying there. If you stop doing this mischief, the world will reorganize itself. Learn to serve others without selfishness.
So this is what will happen when we do Nididhyasana. The Sarvatma Bhav will increase. The Seva will increase. Ego will reduce. You know, one place I read, they said very nicely that, not read, I heard it. They said that अगर आपके पास ईगो है तो आप केवल मुंह फुला सकते हो, अगर आपके पास इनो है तो आप इडली, केक, बहुत कुछ फुला सकते हो, इसीलिए ईगो मत रखो, इनो रखो. So this jiva bhav, this ego, we have to drop. That is what Nididhyasana will do. So we are not trying to seek some thoughtless state, some siddhi, some concentration, some light, nothing. What we are trying to do in Nididhyasana? Reduce the ego. The jiva bhav, drop. Strengthen the brahma bhav. So this is Nididhyasana, and that's why the shloka here says that Shrutya yuktya svanubhutya Jnatva sarvatmyam atmanaha. Through Shruti, Yukti and Anubhuti there means through Nididhyasana. When Nididhyasana happens, then what will happen? The person will also land up in Samadhi. Samadhi actually means self. Samadhi is not an experience. Samadhi literally means Atma. Why? Because Samadhi is where the Dhi merges in Sama. Sama is Brahma. In Gita, Bhagavan says Samam Brahma. So buddhi loses itself. It is like that, the salt doll which goes to the ocean to measure the ocean. What will happen to the salt doll? Dissolved, becomes one with the ocean. The buddhi which is trying to know, that buddhi only dissolves. In every other subject, what happens? I, the knower, remains different from the subject. Subject in the sense, the thing that I am studying. So if I am studying physics, I am remaining separate as an entity, then I come to know about physics, about geography, about biology, all this. But Vedanta is not like that. In Vedanta, I am trying to know who am I. So the knowledge of the self will destroy my false notions and I discover oneness with the self. Which is why this Upanishad says that the knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. Sayoha vaitat paramam brahma veda brahmaiva bhavati. Mundaka Upanishad will say. Good, na? It happens only for Brahma Jnana. Imagine if it happens for physics. The knower of gravity becomes difficult. Knower of mathematics becomes numbers. Knower of self becomes self. Because we are the self actually. Become self matlab kya? We are already that truth, just that we didn't know. So samadhi means where one comes to discover that I am Brahman. What we experience unconsciously in deep sleep, we will experience consciously in samadhi. In deep sleep, the body, mind, intellect we are not aware of, it has become dormant. There is Atma there. One is closest to the Atma, but ignorance is there in that state. So I don't know. That ignorance is removed. So when that ignorance is removed, then one realizes the self. It is like the veil. So if there is a veil, you remove that veil, what is being covered becomes evident. That veil of ignorance, veil of vasanas goes. So samadhi is that state where complete silence and stillness of the mind and ego has happened. It is not just become dormant. That jiva bhava is destroyed. So one realizes I am Brahman. Abhyas of samadhi also has to be done. The final state is this samam Brahma. But samadhi also is where the mind is becoming quiet, intellect has become quiet totally. And so continuous practice of samadhi through nididhyasan will destroy lots and lots of dehabhava, dehatma vasana. Samadhi doesn't produce atma jnana. Samadhi destroys vasanas. Dehatma bhav. It will destroy. The more it destroys, the more the person gets atmanishtha. At one point, the whole dehatma bhav is finished. Yesterday, what we saw, no? Ramakrishna, see, so many lives of samskars are there. So when one goes into samadhi, after some time, again the mind comes out. Again, with effort, one goes into that state of stillness and lifts the mind to the state of self. Again, the mind comes out of that. Repeated practice of this. In Vivekachoodamani, Shankaracharya ji says, again and again, evam nirantar abhyasta. That is in Atma Bodh, even Vivekachoodamani he says, evam nirantar abhyasta brahmasmiti. Again and again, if I remember this, that I am Brahman, then this will get destroyed, avidya will get destroyed. So, Shravan, then Manan. If I do Manan properly, my nididhyasan will happen very effortlessly. And nididhyasan, when it happened effortlessly, one will get into samadhi. So that is the word jnatva. In this shrutya, yuktya, svanubhutya, jnatva sarvatmyam atmanaha. Svanubhutya and Gnatva. If we want to separate them, we have to separate them like this. Nididhyasan and Samadhi. And through that, what do I realize? Is it that only I am Brahman? All are the self. Because some people ask that question, Swamiji, is it not selfish to strive for your own moksha? You are seeking your own liberation. What about others? The whole point is there is no others. There is only one truth. There is only one self. And to drop that your own only is called moksha. Moksha is not belonging to any individual. Moksha is freedom from individuality. So how can there be your own moksha? It's not like my own iPad, my own computer, like that my own moksha. There's nothing called my own moksha. There is only moksha, which is freedom from I and mine. And which is why the person who attains moksha is the person who has universal compassion and love, just like Gurudev gave the example of the body. Though there are differences of, differences in the whole body, hands and legs and head and stomach, none of them are same. Same way the world has so much of variety, but the underlying truth is one self alone. So the person who realizes the truth is the person who lives completely in compassion, no hatred towards anybody, complete acceptance of everyone. Now, further what does he say? Jnatva sarvatmyam atmanaha. And goes ahead to explain kvachid abhasata prapta. Even little bit of false identification, if it remains, what should I do? Remove it. Swadhya sapanayam kuru. Even kvachit, not even a trace. Now and then some traces will appear. Then again remind, I am Brahman, I am Brahman, I am the self, I am infinite consciousness. So this is the abhyasa, this is the practice that one has to keep doing. Now, going ahead, 282. Annadana visargabhyam Ishan nasti kriya munehe Tadeka nishtaya nityam Swadhyasapanayam kuru. So this yogi, this Muni, so who is Muni? One meaning of Muni is one who is not moody. Moody people cannot be Muni. Muni means Manana Shilavan. One who is reflective and munehe bhavam maunam. One whose mind is peaceful is a Muni. This reflective is the quality of the intellect, and this is the quality of the mind. So mind and intellect of that person. Mind is quiet, intellect is very contemplative, reflective. That person is called Muni. Otherwise, what happens? The word Muni, what comes to our mind when we say Muni? Somebody with a long beard, one jata, wearing some mala, ochre clothes, khadao, some bhasma, chandan. Kaun hai? Muni. Or you think of Narad Muni. And the moment we think of Narad Muni, what comes to our mind? Mischief. See? Narad ji matlab mischief. In Gujarati they say Narad Veda kare chhe. Meaning he makes people fight. Gossip, yahan ka baat wahan ka baat yahan, and then make people fight. That is one very sad thing, that we don't recognize the glory of Narad ji. Who is Narad ji? He is one of the greatest bhaktas of Bhagavan. In the Bhagavatam it comes, he tells Bhakti Mata that Tasmin Stvam Sthapayishyami Gehe Gehe Jane Jane. I will establish you, Bhakti, in every home, in every heart. Naradji, look at his versatile nature. He can transform a terrible dacoit, Ratnakar, into Valmiki. He can guide a small child, Dhruva. In 6 months' time, Dhruva got darshan of Bhagwan. He gave him the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He can influence the child in the womb of Kayadhu, the mother of Prahladji, Hiranyakashipu's wife. Nowadays people talk about infiltration, no? Naradji trained Prahladji in the womb only and infiltrated him into Asuras, Hiranyakashipu. Vedavyasji is feeling incomplete. Even after compiling the Vedas, writing the Puranas, Naradji tells him, you are feeling incomplete because you have not written the life of Krishna Bhagavan. So he writes the Bhagavatam and then he feels fulfilled. If you see like that, Naradji has such versatile personality. One of the greatest bhaktas. So Muni, when we think about Muni, these great people should come into our mind. Ki such great people like Narad Maharshi is there, Vedavyasji, Shankaracharya ji, he is also a Muni. Gurudev, he is also a Muni. So many great people. So such a person who is Muni is reflecting, is contemplating, is focused on realizing the self. Then what happens? The ordinary day-to-day activities, one is not focusing on those. It is happening as per prarabdha, what has to happen will happen. So anna, adana, visarga. So this food which we eat and which we leave out. Not only through the mouth what we eat, but through all the senses, whatever one is consuming and whatever one is throwing out or however one is responding and whatever karmas one has to do with it, the focus of this sadhak, this Muni, is not on any of those. Think about it. It is, for us, so many things are very conducive. They are provided for. We have a certain safety, security. We are staying in a good place. Food is there. Enough, money is there. Shelter is there. Clothing is there. Everything is there, provided for. Do we have to worry about where our next meal will come from? We don't have to worry. But some of these great masters, they have renounced. They are living in forests. They are living quietly. They don't know where the next meal will come from or whether the meal will even come. But their mind is not focused on this. Why? They renounced it for this precise reason, that they don't want to keep sitting and thinking about food and water and clothing and all that. They want focus on Nididhyasan. So, by prarabdha, their bhavana is what? Prarabdham pushyati vapuhu. So, they are not bothered about that. So, annadana visargabhyam ishan nasti kriya munehe. This person is not bothered about the daily maintenance of the body, will do it as per the need of the body, but not bothered. Ki kahan se aayega, kya hoga? And if you start living in that way, then only one will understand ki what a state this is. When everything is provided, so we don't have a problem at all. But when it is not provided, then think about it. Will the mind remain on Brahman? Here is the state of the person whose mind remains like that, because the person has done vairagya, has done tapasya, has titiksha, all that. So, tadeka nisthaya nityam, with single pointed commitment, eka nishtha, that what is my goal? I want to realize the truth. Tadekanishthaya nityam, constantly. Swadhyasapanayam kuru. One is engaged in destroying this Dehatma bhav. One is not bothered in accumulating more wealth and more actions and more achievements and nothing. Why? Because one has done the Vivek. There is nothing left in this. What I want to do, I want to destroy my superimposition. Destroy this delusion. So, ekanishtha, tadekanishthaya nityam, swadhyasapanayam kuru. With single pointed agenda, just do this much. Otherwise, the mind is very easily distracted. And today we are living in the age of multitasking. Simultaneously, we want to do so many things at the same time. This is ekanishtha. Vedanta is saying, so tadekanishthaya nityam swadhyasapanayam kuru. 283. Tattvamasyadi vakyotha brahmatmaikatva bodhataha brahmanyatmatva dardhyaya swadhyasapanayam kuru. So what is a Mahavakya? Tattvamasi is one example of Mahavakya. What is the meaning of Mahavakya? Aham Brahmasmi is another type of Mahavakya. Great truth. It tells about the oneness of Jivatma and Paramatma. जो जीवा ब्रह्म ऐक्य, the statement which reveals जीवा ब्रह्म ऐक्य. Please remember, Jiva Brahma Aikya, it reveals. It is not that Jiva is becoming one with Brahman. There is no becoming. It's not the Atma is mixing with Paramatma, meeting with Paramatma, becoming one with Paramatma. No. It is already one. That oneness is revealed by this statement. So, Jiva Brahma Aikya. This Jiva Brahma Aikya, the sentence which reveals, is called Mahavakya. So in Mahavakya, suppose we say Tat, Tvam and Asi. Tattvamasi means what? Literal translation is what? That thou art. Or in simpler language, what do you say? That you are. Tat tvam asi. That you are. What is that? Literal word meaning, does it reveal anything? That you are, or you are that. Literal meaning sometimes doesn't apply. Then I have to do what? I have to go for the implied meaning. So we say Vachyartha and Lakshyartha. Lakshyartha. In Mahavakya, what will apply? Vachyartha or Lakshyartha? Why you can't Vachyartha apply? Because it is not describable. Suppose we say, I am Brahman. In that, why can't the Vachyartha apply? I am Brahman. Ho gaya. Brahman is indescribable, so because of that, Vachyartha will not apply. Then how Lakshyartha will apply?
Line itself says that I and Brahman are separate. I am Brahman. So it's creating a distinction between them.
But that's why there is the Mahavakya, which is revealing the oneness, right? Because there is a distinction already created, so Mahavakya is revealing oneness. To reveal oneness, there has to be two, na? कि ये दो नहीं है, ये एक है, तो दो बोलना तो पड़ेगा ना. So even when we say here Jiva Brahma Aikya, Jiva is there, Brahma is there, this is one, this is two, तो हो गया ना फिर दो, in that sense. So why will a Lakshyartha only apply? Why not a Vachyartha? Meaning is already there. No. No, so in that Tattvamasi, that may be anything, so that is one reasoning. So what is small I, big I? Why, for that, why do I have to use the Lakshyartha? Wait, let her finish. Huh. No, Vachyartha doesn't indicate Lakshyartha at all. Vachyartha is only Vachyartha. Vachyartha means literal meaning. Literal meaning, when it is contradictory and not possible, then only the Lakshyartha will apply in this context. Is it possible that I can be Brahman? Literally, I am Brahman. Is it possible? No, literally we are saying, not big I. Literally, is it possible? I, if we take example, I is the wave and Brahman is the ocean. Can the wave be equal to ocean? It is not possible. Literally, the wave being equal to ocean is impossible. That is the Virodha Abhas. It is not possible. How will the one small wave be equal to such a mighty ocean? It is impossible. So Vachyartha cannot apply in Mahavakya, because in the Mahavakya the oneness of Jiva and Brahma is being pointed out, and Jiva is not equal to Brahman, literally. So then what to do? Then take the Lakshyartha. Ki what is this Jiva indicating and what is this Brahman indicating, and then you see the oneness. For example, now when we come back to Tattvamasi, so when we say Tvam, what does Tvam, literal meaning of Tvam means what? You. You means the individual. And if you have to split the individual further down, in the language of Gurudev, how will you split this? BMI, simple. Individual BMI is the literal meaning of the word Tvam. Tat is what? That. So what does that indicate here? Not the Lakshyartha, Vachyartha. But it indicates Brahman or it indicates what? Not, how can it be not this? Other than thou. So what will it be? Atman Are. Other than BMI? Other than BMI, फिर क्या होगा? So we have to know one thing. When we say Tat, it indicates the total BMI. The totality. If there is an individuality, there is also a totality. That is what we call Ishvara, right? If there is a wave, there is a ocean. From Upadhi standpoint, we are talking right now. If I am identified with the body, mind, intellect, I as a Jiva, I am one individual, that means that there has to be a total. Vyashti and Samashti. Pinda and Brahmanda. So there has to be totality. If there is a wave, there has to be a ocean. Can the wave exist apart from the ocean? Not possible. That is in the example very clear, but in our situation we think without, means I can exist independent of totality. That's how individual is living selfishly and destroying the creation also. But that is not possible. Individual is always connected to the total. So in Tat and Tvam, The literal meaning of Tat is total body, mind, intellect, which means Ishvara. In Vedantic terminology, we say Ishvara, and for the individual, we say Jiva. Now, if you say Tat Tvam Asi, literal meaning will be what? The Jiva is Ishvara. Can Jiva be Ishvara? Luckily, Jiva is not Ishvara. If Jiva becomes Ishvara, we had it. Each one will be Ishvara. Each one will decide their own karma phala. Somebody will say Q&A session at 4 o'clock, somebody will say at 4:30, somebody will say at 5 o'clock. Now what to do? Everybody is Ishvara. Then indecision will happen. Nothing, now no conclusion can happen. But technically it is not possible कि Jiva is equal to Ishvara. So if the Mahavakya is saying Tat Tvam Asi and literal meaning is not applicable कि Jiva is equal to Ishvara, then what to do now? Lakshyartha has to apply. What is the Lakshyartha now? That this individual body, mind, intellect, does it function on its own? No. It functions when it is enlivened by consciousness. This consciousness is the indicative meaning of Tvam. And same way, Ishvara also is nothing but consciousness functioning through the total BMI. So the indicative meaning of Tat is consciousness. Right? The individual is not able to function the BMI by itself. No. The BMI is enlivened by consciousness. So the literal meaning is the BMI. But the indicative meaning of Tvam is consciousness, because of which this BMI is functioning. If the BMI is inert, it is not able to function by itself. So when we say Tvam, what it is indicating? It is indicating the consciousness. So for example, this bulb, simpler example we say is the bulb. So when we say bulb is giving light, will the literal meaning apply? Can the bulb give light? What is the indicative meaning? The electricity passing through the bulb is giving the light. So through this example, what are we indicating? Indicating electricity. That electricity is the cause of this light. Bulb is only one equipment. Limitation of example is without the bulb, electricity won't manifest as light. That is a limitation of example. But when I say light, I am indicating what? Electricity. Correct. So this is Tvam is indicating what? Consciousness functioning through BMI is the Jiva. In that BMI chart of Gurudev, Om reflecting in the BMI is called the PFT, Mr. So and so. That Jiva. So the PFT is the Jiva, but is that Jiva independent? No, that Jiva is because of that Om reflecting there. Like the sun reflecting in the bucket of water. Is that reflection independent? No, no. The reflection is reflection of what? Sun. So that reflection is indicating sun above. Is that clear? No confusion, right? So Tvam is the indicative, the indicative meaning of Tvam is consciousness. Same way, the indicative meaning of Tat is also consciousness. Just like this consciousness is enlivening one BMI, it is the same consciousness enlivening all the BMI. That is called the totality. That is Ishvara. Till this much is understood. Vachyartha cannot apply because of the contradictory equipments. The individual body, mind, intellect can never be equal to total body, mind, intellect. One wave cannot be equal to ocean. So we will never be able to use the literal meaning of Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi always what will apply? Lakshyartha. Now comes the next step. That how is it that oneness is established then? Because this BMI is mithya. This is not real. How do we experience? What just now what we saw. Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan and Samadhi. Samadhi, direct experience one will have ki I am not the BMI, there is only Atma. BMI has become, it is not there only. Literally the world will disappear. When Vivekananda ji went into the state of Samadhi, what happened? Literally the world disappeared for him. When he came out of that state, for 3 days he was not even aware of the body. He was walking on the road, banged his head against a pillar, but he didn't realize the difference between the body and the pillar. Don't get scared कि अरे बाप रे ऐसा सब हो जाएगा मेरे साथ. I am giving that example to make you understand कि literally the world disappears. हमको जो ये solid लगता है ना, it is not there. What happens to us in deep sleep, that consciously happens in the state of samadhi. Deep sleep happens by nature's rhythm. We are not doing anything consciously to get into deep sleep. But samadhi happens by effort. So literally disappears. So then the person realizes, Acha, this is one illusion only, it is not real. So the negation of the BMI happens. Through Tattvamasi, what happens? We negate. Tat means consciousness. Tvam means consciousness. So this individual BMI, we surrender, let go of the Jiva Bhav. When we do negation, no? Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chittani, Naham, all that. The negation is this. The reality we have given to this, ki this, I am this, we negate. When the individual BMI is gone, the total BMI also will disappear on its own. Like when we go into deep sleep, does the world exist? If the world does not exist, does the Creator exist? No. So if I drop my false identification with my body, mind, intellect, Ishvara's body, mind, intellect, that false identity also will go. So if individual BMI is negated, total BMI is negated, then what is the equation now? Tvam is equal to consciousness, Tat is equal to consciousness, so Tvam is equal to Tat. Hence proved mathematically. Ho gaya. You want to prove mathematically, it is like this. Tat is equal to individual BMI plus consciousness. Tvam is equal to total BMI plus consciousness. Individual BMI gone, total BMI gone. So Tat is equal to consciousness. Tvam is equal to consciousness. Hence, Tat is equal to Tvam. Hence proved. Ho gaya. That's it. Now you are realized. ब्रह्म ज्ञान हो गया आपको मैथमेटिक्स के द्वारा. Hence proved. This is what Tattvamasi is Mahavakya is to tell us कि अरे you are not the BMI. Now this is also indicated in the Puranas, in the story of Vaman Bhagwan. Just now Vaman Jayanti went, you know. So that is your homework, you think. How is Vaman Bhagwan's story related to this Tattvamasi? And you tell me in the evening Q&A session. अब तक सोचो. Vaman Bhagwan's story, how is it related to this oneness, this Tattvamasi? How is it related to realizing oneness of Jiva and Brahman? सोच के मुझे बताना। ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।